Hey everyone. Okay, so today I would like to talk to you all about déjà vu. Now, déjà vu by definition is the feeling that one has lived through the present situation before. So there's a familiarity with it, like, oh my goodness, I know what's around that corner, or wow, I've been in this place before, or some other such thing. Or it could be, I know what you're about to say, and that person says it. So déjà vu is that odd sensation. And if you've ever watched The Matrix, they have a glitch in The Matrix where they have a déjà vu. So over the years, I have identified 7 different kinds of déjà vu, and I'd like to go through them all with you now so that you get an understanding of what it is that I'm talking about. So the first kind that I want to talk about is what I describe as the long moment. So we live in a world where our moment is our present. So I'm not exactly sure how long that moment is, but we constantly exist in that time as it shifts with time. So our awareness is of, maybe it's a few milliseconds. I'm not exactly sure how it is. It might even be as long as a second, but it's an awareness of that moment right now, right then. And of course, our awareness carries through our entire life, being aware of just that moment. So everything before that is history and memory, and everything in front of it is unknown and discovering. Now, obviously, if you're doing certain things, then there is some predictability in that, i.e., if you're driving down the freeway, you can be fairly certain that the next 5 minutes or 5 seconds or whatever it might be is you're going to be driving down the freeway. That's just logical. You know, if you wake up in the morning, the logic tells you you're going to get up and do certain things, have certain rituals, and you'll go through the day having breakfast, lunch and dinner, or not, as ever the case may be. Finish your day and go to sleep, go to bed, or go to bed and go to sleep. Now, the long moment happens when your awareness changes from that few milliseconds or whatever it is to having an awareness that is longer than that period of time. And because that awareness grows, and it can grow in 2 directions, but if it goes backwards, you're not going to notice it because you've already experienced that. So you're just going to be aware of, why am I suddenly thinking about what I did 5 seconds ago? But if it goes forward, that's a whole different matter. And so it might jump 5 or 10 seconds, and then you're suddenly aware of what is about to happen, or what's going to be said, or some other such thing. And your awareness at that point is extended out to that moment, and you suddenly become aware of what's coming next. Now, that's what I call the long moment. It's where your awareness goes from that few milliseconds that you're existing in now, right this second, to perhaps even seconds or days or hours or whatever it might be, for a short period of time where you get a glimpse into what's going to happen. Now, the long moment extended is the next one, and that's when your awareness shifts to a period of time that is not included in the now. In other words, you get a sudden vision of something that could be some distance in the future, and you're aware of, oh my God, and It can take, days, weeks, months, years to get there, and you'll suddenly go, I remember seeing this. Oh my God, oh my God. And you've become aware of what I call the long moment extended. So it's not just immediately in front of you, but it's some distance in front of you. And it's like being aware or seeing it. So, but it's seeing something that is absolutely going to happen. So that's what that one is. Now, the next kind of déjà vu is, I call it past life. And this one's a little bit easier to explain. So the déjà vu might be that you existed in this town, but in a previous lifetime. You might never have been there before. You're driving through and suddenly you're like, I know that building. I know what's around the corner. Hang on a minute, didn't that used to be a plantation? Wasn't that a coffee shop? Some other such thing that comes through to your head. And it's only if you speak to old timers in the area, they go, oh yeah, that used to be the coffee shop and rah, 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 rah. That's a past life memory coming through, but because it comes through in a present day life, it can be a little bit overwhelming, or inspiring, I think is the right word. To suddenly be aware of information that you weren't aware of before, and that familiarity that is coming up from the depths of a previous life, and knowledge of things that you shouldn't have knowledge of. And that's quite an amazing experience all by itself. Now, the next one I want to talk about is your higher self. So like the long moment and the long moment extended, we aren't meant to have direct contact with our higher selves in our day-to-day living, and certainly not in this plane of existence. We do get inklings and what have you from time to time, but it's not meant to be a full backwards and forwards communication. Part of the reason or what's the word I'm looking for? The agreement that we have to come here is to let go of some of that higher knowledge so that we can learn. Now, but there are times when we do connect to that higher self, and it gives us insight into our current moment. It's like being outside the box while you're inside it at the same time. You suddenly have this greater perspective of what's going on. You're suddenly able to see inside the box and go, oh my goodness. So that's a really interesting experience as well. Now, the next one is clairvoyance. Now, you get a clairvoyant vision that gives you insight into your current moment or moments. And this can sometimes be your abilities awakening. It can also be an unexpected vision, and it can sometimes be mistaken for déjà vu, and I sometimes believe it is déjà vu, but it's coming from a part of your abilities that is giving you vision of something. So in a loose sort of way, it is another form of déjà vu. Now, the next one, this one's a little bit of a conundrum, and I've debated on it a long time where this one particularly sits. So it fits déjà vu in the respect that it's a reminder of what is to come, and yet it isn't, because details differ from what you know. Let me explain. I call this a reality shift or a reality jump. Okay, now, the best way to explain that is that you'll be listening to a song, or you'll be watching a movie, or you'll be talking to someone, reading a book, watching a program on TV, and suddenly you'll go, hang on a second, that's not right. Like the words of that song, I know that they're different, and yet you're hearing it differently. Or that movie, that had a different ending. Or this book, hang on, and there's so much going on. And you're like, but I'm convinced of that. And then you talk to other people and they go, no, it's always been like that. And you're like, no, it hasn't. I've known about this. This, hang on a sec, this doesn't make sense. And so you stop telling people about it because you feel, I must be wrong. But what's actually happened is, without getting into too much of it, we live in a multitude of realities at the same time. And every decision that you make splits into two different realities. Now, if you've ever watched Back to the Future, where he had a different timeline, that's what I'm talking about, where a single event changes the path of things. Sliding doors is another example, and I've talked about that in another video. So in this particular instance, what has happened is your consciousness has jumped to a different reality where a different decision was made at some point in the path, and you're suddenly living in a world that you know absolutely through and through, same people, same everything, but suddenly something's different. And it could be that a song that you've always known has a different lyric to it, or the movie, or whatever it is, there is just something different, but you are the only person that's aware of that difference. And everyone else is saying, no, that's the way it's always been. The interesting thing is that if you jumped back to the reality you were in, it would be exactly as you remember it. So that becomes another kind of deja vu, but it's also, when you first experience it, it can be a little unsettling, but I promise you, every single one of you has had a single experience or more than one experience of that. Now, I don't know why we jump realities, and I've got no concept of why we all experience those things. And I suspect it's got something to do with our journey in this lifetime. I haven't come up with concrete answers, but it is something that absolutely does happen, and it happens to everyone. And sometimes it even involves going, hang on, I thought that person had died, or some other such thing that has changed. I thought it was so-and-so who invented that. There's just so much. But from my experience in this, it doesn't seem to be major events that have changed, like, you know, a volcano erupted and wiped out an entire country, that kind of catastrophic difference. But it does seem to be, we're all able to jump small differences. Now, the final one that I want to talk about, or the seventh one, is again where you're manifesting things. So in bringing things into your life, you need to visualize those things and close your eyes and create them to happen. Now, when they happen exactly as you envisioned them, that can give you a sense of deja vu because you created that event in your future. And when it happens, you suddenly experience that thing. So what I would say to you in that instance is this is the other kind of deja vu. So I've been able in my lifetime to identify these 7 different kinds of deja vu. I suspect that there are more that I haven't yet discovered. And please, if you've got any others that you've experienced, please comment below or ask any questions that you may have. But for now, I'll end this, and please like and subscribe. I would love to hear any questions you may have. And please visit my website. And I would be ever grateful if you could consider becoming a patron on my Patreon page, which allows me to make more content like this today. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye.